Okay, guys, this has been really drawn out because of the kids and everything, but they're fine. They're back at home with their parents. Anyway, I wanted to further the conversation of what I was talking about, breadcrumbing. Okay, so again, basically breadcrumbing usually is something that is a tool that is used, manipulative tool, okay, that is used maybe for somebody who doesn't really have good intentions for you or doesn't have any serious intentions for you, so they breadcrumb you. Or in a relationship, you may get breadcrumbed because of the person maybe trying to drive you crazy on purpose, like trying to get your attention, or they really do have their attention somewhere else, or they just don't really love you enough to care to not breadcrumb you. Okay, the point is that breadcrumbing in general is never going to be anything that's going to work out or help a relationship in any way. If indeed you actually have intentions of being with somebody, breadcrumbing and checking in like once a week or every 2 weeks or whatever the case, right? A lot can happen in a week. A lot can happen in a day. I lost my first husband in one day, like literally 30 minutes. I saw him and then the next 30 minutes he was gone. Okay, so like things happen in a week. Like somebody could, literally be laid up in the hospital. Somebody could have gotten an accident or something, God forbid, but something, or maybe they had to fly out to see a family member, unexpectedly, or, just all types of things happen in that time period, okay? And so if breadcrumbing is something that you're doing in a relationship that you already have, or in a relationship that you want, and if you are over 30, first of all, it's very immature. It's very, very immature. And I would, reflect on why, if I was doing that, right? Why am I doing that? Okay, like get to the root of why I'm doing that. Because if your goal is to be with somebody, or you already have that relationship and you're doing that in either of those two scenarios, and you claim to love that person or whatever, right? But you're not giving them what they need. And whatever that case is. Even if you're a female and you're withholding sex, okay, and you know that man wants it and you're driving him crazy, okay, whatever the case is, why? And if it is some sort of tool or if you're using that in a manipulative way to try to get your way or to be a brat or to try to create something, you're really taking a risk. You're really chancing losing the relationship altogether. Why? Because somebody else could come right on in and swoop in and take care of that person's needs just fine. And maybe, if you don't have the type of relationship where there's honesty, okay, you might not even know that that's happening. Okay, and you're over here breadcrumbing, acting like you don't love somebody or acting like you don't care, wearing a mask, or you're just scared of your own emotions, scared of intimacy, or maybe you are, an avoidant or whatever, and you just, in general, avoid stuff, or give people these 3 words or one-liners or whatever every few days in a text or whatever. That's not going to maintain any type of relationship. And the question is that why? So if you're doing that because you don't even really care about the person, that's not what I'm talking about. Because that happens, and that's, I'm not saying do that, but clearly to me that is a sign that you don't really have serious intentions or you don't care too much about that person. Okay? That's how I take that. Now, in a relationship, already in a relationship, I take that as being passive aggressive. That's how I take that. Because it is my love language to stay in communication, to talk all the time, to be lovey-dovey, to kind of stay in that state of, like, staying in each other's bubble. It's like, you got a bubble around the two of you, you know what I mean? And no matter where you're at, it's like you have your own little bubble. You have your own inside jokes. You have your own languages or whatever, like you you got telepathy going on, like you can read each other's minds kind of thing, like you just kind of know, like that is, you're in each other's worlds, right? And I don't know, I just grew up like that. Like I said, my parents were like that. I was like that with my late husband, and I've only had one other relationship since him that we stayed like that. Like it might start out like that or whatever, but admittedly on their part, they couldn't maintain it, right? So this is where honesty comes in. This is where straight honesty comes in, like just being honest about the level of attention you need or desire or want with each other, and what level you're willing to do. Okay, because if her need is greater than what you're willing to do, or you work too much, you just work a lot anyway, like you can't even attempt to take care of that person's emotional needs because you're gone all the time or something. Like these are the types of things that have to be spoken about, because otherwise when somebody else comes in and you know, into their world by surprise or whatever, like they just end up meeting somebody that's just like, you know, it leaves that person is open, right? That person is open to dealing with that other person. Like they might even feel like a godsend. Okay, so it's like you know, the thing about it is like I've been talking a lot about men who can be a little bit male chauvinistic and you know, think that maybe women are just good for one thing, you know. And I know most men aren't that way. Most men know and value what a woman brings to the table, or whatever a woman brings in general to a relationship. But, you know, and I know for me as a woman, I absolutely value what a man brings to the relationship. Like I said before, there's just plenty of things. One of them being insight, or insight meaning not so much just straight knowledge, but just, you know, sometimes knowledge, but also just foresight too. Like being able to foresee dangers and things that I don't see, you know, especially like if he's from the big city or the major city. Like one of the first guys that I fell in love with was actually from New York. And he was always like, you know, cause I'm from Florida. So they used to call me Valley girl. I'm not a Valley girl. Okay. But I'm not a city girl. So like, I do appreciate when a guy from the city kind of keeps me on track. Okay. So like that's foresight to me, when you're like, oh, lock your doors, or you know, keep your head on a swivel, whatever, all those things, you know, just stay over here, move, you know, all that kind of things. Like don't, like, let me stay on this side of the road and that side of the road, that kind of thing. Okay. Because I can be a little bit la, and I've always been that way, and I don't mean to be that way. I just kind of get that way, right? So foresight. Okay. So men in general, God has gifted them that for the most part. They can see potential dangers or things in general, right? Same with women, but maybe in different areas, you know, and just insight in general. Men do tend to, you know, have knowledge on things that I definitely don't, you know, at all. Maybe I don't even care about it, but like, you know, just all kinds of things. Okay. Like I went on a walk the other day with a friend. We went on a walk together and I love him to pieces. Okay. But he randomly told me some fact about a spider. That a particular spider couldn't bite us because the mouse was too small or something like that. I don't know. It was kind of random, but I guess it wasn't random because we saw a spider. But anyway, I just thought it was kind of cute and kind of funny because I didn't know that fact, but B, even if I did read it once before, it wasn't anything that stuck with my brain or that I even like filed away or something like that. So I appreciated that, and I could already see in him the knowledge that he possesses. He actually possesses a lot of knowledge of things that I don't know anything about. And I can more than respect that. Like, I kind of need that in my life, you know, because it's like, you know, it has nothing to do with age of a person. It has nothing to do with, you know, it has everything to do with life experiences and your expertise, right? Or your level of just, you know, life experiences. life experiences, okay, which can match two people up, right? Especially when one is experienced in one area and has, life experiences or just knowledge in one area, and another person has one. And it's like I always say, like, it's like if I'm a good salesperson and I can sell cars, or I can sell, makeup, or if I can sell houses or whatever, right? There is an underwriter, or there is the people who have to get the paperwork done, right? Some people are good at paperwork. Some people are good at the mouthpiece, right? I'm definitely good at the mouthpiece. Some people are better at the details of the underwriting and things like that, or securing that loan, stuff like that. Okay, so I tend to usually attract my opposite. I definitely try. Like my friend now that I'm close to, whatever, she is my opposite. We're opposites, and that can make for one whole person, And it's actually good. I think it's very good to be opposite attracts when you both respect each other and when you can communicate effectively. And in relationships, when you're opposite attract, it's also very good when both people are, fully attracted to each other, but also understand where the energy shifts are. Understand where the holes or the gaps could be, right? So that you can basically potentially ward off any problems before they happen, right? And men and women can both do that. They both have foresight or the ability to do that type of thing. And so I think that that's very important. If you are being breadcrumbed in your relationship, it's important to express and be open and speak honestly, right? Before it's a problem. Now, let me put this in a way that a man understands, okay? That a man understands. If a man is trying to tell his woman, okay, that he needs to have his, physical activity, rub down, shake down, situation taken care of, every day or every other day at a minimum or something like that. And he's trying to tell her this, and she continuously just doesn't make time for him, or she's working too much, or cares more about her job, or going out with her girlfriends, or just doing whatever, or just whatever, okay, and is not even thinking about his situation, not asking, not checking in, not even wondering, don't even care, it's not on the radar, right? Most men will say to another man, like, they did what they did. I'm not gonna condone it, okay? Because I'm never gonna condone stepping out of a relationship. But you hear men say to other men all the time, especially ones that are not God oriented, or not worried about God or whatever. But even then, it's like you can only push somebody so far when it comes to that. Most men understand that. That it's like when some woman comes along who is readily able, willing, wanting, whatever, okay, what happens? He starts fulfilling his needs somewhere else. And this is just something that happens. It's not that, I don't think most people, and what I've actually heard from a lot of men, and I've seen this a lot, most men never really intended to cheat. They never actually intended that, but they were breadcrumbed in some sort of way, with that, usually with that, and they felt a lack. And it's the same for women. With whatever it is that they need. Absolutely. Right? And so, if breadcrumbing is being used as a tactic, I would ask myself, why are you doing that? Because you're potentially leaving that person all the way open, and you might lose that relationship altogether. Okay? Because despite what you might hear online, that's for babies. That's for kids. All those game playing and don't calling somebody back, or not talking, or not being open, and all that, that's playing games. And that's not for adults. Playing games is for kids. Playing games is for children. Playing games is for when you're a teenager, okay, or maybe your 20s or whatever, right? Play games. If you're an adult, right, these things should be discussed. So, same thing, for example, if I say, when you bark at me or raise your voice at a certain octave over here, and you start yelling now, or I can feel the spit from your face onto my face because you're coming at me. Okay, and if I decide I don't want to communicate in that way, and I'm trying to you know what, I need a minute because you're bringing me to my point of, I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to start mouthing off at you. And I try to leave. Okay. I try to go. I mean, I've had this happen. I'm literally like, let me go to the bathroom. Let me do anything to try to get away from this, break this conversation the way it's going now. Like, I don't like the way I'm being. I feel accosted. You understand? I feel accosted. Okay. Or like if my keys are mysteriously missing and it's because he knew that I was probably going to be like, okay, I'm out because I'm not trying to like have you yell at me or whatever, right? Okay. That kind of stuff, like, right? Like, it's like, how many times do you have to tell a person that speaking to me in that type of manner, in that way, is not only not acceptable, but like, it's pushing me away or whatever. Like, you can only tell somebody that so many times or for so long or for so many years, right? After so many years, like, it's just literally like, I hear this from women all the time. They literally just check out. I mean, I see this. I literally see this in my friends and people all the time. They just check out. They're just like, and you know what? Their mind is somewhere else. Just like his mind is probably somewhere else too. And I think that that is a shame, especially when we're all adults here. When we're all adults here and we all know that communication is the key to success, there is like no reason that we should not be communicating, you know, our needs or what, or, you know, like when you're an adult, what's the excuse? Passive aggressiveness? Check yourself. If your excuse is I'm an avoidant, I don't want to talk about my feelings or emotions, check yourself. Okay, fix that. Ask why and fix that. You're going to have continued failed relationships or relationships that don't quite come to fruition or don't quite bloom, or just relationships that their potential is unrealized. Because somebody is feeling breadcrumbed or left open or whatnot. Okay? Anyway, that's it for now. I think I'm sorry this was broken up into 3 different videos, basically. But, you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next time.